Okay, now that we've got some doors and whatnot put into our building, what we could do is, if we'd like to put in furniture, we certainly could do that. We'll maybe open up, here's floor 2, it's got a bunch of our offices in it. We'll maybe switch that down so the hardwoods don't pop so much into what we're doing. We'll switch that down into a hidden line. We could throw it into shaded mode too, so it wasn't quite so much of anything there. And to add in components such as that, what we can do is actually, we can load in a family if we wanted to. Go into here, get our Imperial modes. They have all kinds of stuff in there already included. As I said in the previous videos, you can go to revitcity.com and they'll have people contribute what they can to your, to what's in there. You could download all kinds of furniture and dogs, cars, whatever it is that you'd like. Pretty much somebody's gone out and created some version of it to some degree. Different lighting systems and whatnot. And if you wanted to put your own stuff up there, I'm sure that wouldn't be too big of a problem in there either. Well, it looks like they have a piano that we could put in. That's kind of an interesting feature. Why not open up this piano? We'll put one of those in. Maybe we'll move that into, maybe this is a place that you wouldn't mind having pianos into. Put that into our lobby. Maybe just for fun, we've got a piano in there now. We could load another family in there. Maybe we've got some tables we'd like to have, storage, beds, seating, locker room benches. It'll show us a little bit of what it is on the side as you're selecting these things. They have a couple different couches that you can throw in there. Sofa. We'll throw this sofa that's in here. Maybe somebody wants to sit down beside where the piano's being played. And as I said before, with the space bar, you can change your direction of where that's at and what angle it's being positioned at. We can also change that later on, as with anything. We want to click on that. We didn't like it to be at that angle. We can go up there and we can grab this rotate tool and actually click the direction that it is. And then if we want to change it, in here, it's giving us the option to, change the direction of it. Maybe we want to type in that we want 30 degrees. And we'll change it to 30 degrees offset from where we had the that couch facing before. I mean, whatever. We're not actually making a place here that's going to be built. We could just have fun with it and put our couch, wherever it is that we'd like to have it. Maybe we want to put a desk in there or something. We can place another component. Maybe we'll put. Go up and take a look at what else we can put in there. Seating, storage, tables. Open up some tables. Maybe there's a executive desk. That looks good. We'll open up the executive desk. We'll maybe put that in here. I have a feeling that's going to be facing outwards. Maybe we want to have it so that they're facing, the people one way or the other. You can actually take a look at what we've done there. We've put in a couple of desks. You can actually take a look once again with the putting a 3D view in by going under the view tab, going through 3D views, looking for camera, and direct a camera at our desk. And there we are. We've got a desk. Looks like it's facing the correct direction. The drawers and everything like that. You can see that there's, when it highlights the desk, you can see kind of that it's putting more of the desk's opening so that it would be facing the person that if they were sitting at the window side of the desk. Put that into realistic view. And there we have it. We can actually click on that. We can now switch it around if we'd like to. Oh, I've brought us into editing mode, which we don't really want to do that at this point. We totally could. That's a beautiful thing about Revit. We could actually edit this whole thing, make it what we wanted to be, if we wanted it to be that. But we're going to just close and load into there. Do we want to save any changes? No. Goodness, no, we don't want to save any changes to that desk. That's fine. And clicking stuff, sometimes you get into the wrong stuff a little bit. It's good to be cautious of it, but yeah, that's all that was. It's going to let us edit that desk. And with anything, if you're in there, you probably should be, making a copy of it at least before you start just editing away. So it might not quite go the way that you'd planned. And then we've got that as an issue. So we've got 2 desks in there. You can see how this is going. We could put in a bunch of things, put in chairs, and we've got plants and such that we can throw in there as well. If we would like to throw in some more components, I'm not going to bother saving that. It's asking you to save it. You definitely should save your projects from time to time. Make sure that that's there. You wouldn't want to lose any of what you've got in there. Would be an awful shame to be partway through, all this work that you've done. If you've spent like a whole day drafting up a plan, and then you haven't saved anything, and then we all know that it happens from time to time. The power goes out, your computer crashes, something happens. Definitely save your projects. Make sure you've named them some appropriate things so you can find it and know what stage you're on. Maybe like at this point, if I was to do this, I could save it and have it as, we'll save it as a project. And maybe this is, I've had it in here as a previous sort of deal here. We'll switch it out to being maybe that we've got the 6th story with furniture. And there we go. The computer will be happy now that we've done our save. It feels better about itself, and we're going to carry on. We don't really need to explain too much more about how furniture goes in. You certainly could actually import furniture if you'd like to as well into here. That's actually a neat bit. We can show you that right now. We go up to this insert tab at the top above the ribbon. We have insert tab, and we can import other furniture, like say if you've drawn something up in AutoCAD, then we have import CAD, and you'll have the ability to open up all kinds of things that you might have had in there before. Let's see if I can find something that I've had in there on the desktop. Just gonna see what we have. Desktop items, and I had AutoCAD furniture under one of these things at some point. Dining room chair, got a grand piano that was in there. We'll open that up. Auto detect, I don't remember what that was put in. We actually want to make sure that we'll manually put that in. We're going to place that in at floor 2. Should be good. We'll preserve all the... We'll open that up, and that should let us place the grand piano. Hold on a second. In that case, I must have lost the the AutoCAD file for that piano, but we can certainly take a look into something else. It wasn't let me open that up at all. So I definitely must have misplaced where that was, but we'll add something else into it. Let's see. I've got a bunch of things in there that I've created on my own. Outside vase. So this leg chair will be. I know that will be a little bit much to put into there. Curved desk. That looks like it could be a good thing to have in there. Why not? We'll open that up, and you can see that it's giving a little bit of an outline of the curved desk now. We can throw that in there, and that doesn't work with the button as far as the space bar to move it around. That only is really in for families that you're putting in. This is a CAD. It's a completely different manner of putting this in there, but we can still manipulate that with our modify tabs and rotate the object to where we need to be. It's totally fine, and we'll have that in, and it actually goes in there. We can take a little look at what we've got in there now, and we'll get another 3D view, put the camera in, and take a look at the desk. And we can see the desk is in there. Throw it into realistic view. You can sort of see that it's maintained some of the properties that I put onto the desk. That I made this desk in AutoCAD, and I've imported it into the program. Their Autodesk's programs do talk to each other very well. Obviously, they're the same people making the program, so why wouldn't they? But they do think of that quite a lot. I've actually got another object that I have that I've created in a whole nother program that might be able to put in there. It might be a bit of a nightmare because it's a lot of a lot of information that it's looking at. But we'll maybe try and import another thing just to see some of this other stuff that you can put in there. As I said, whole nother program that I used to create it, so it might not really like I've got this twisted wood chair that was in inches. We'll see if that wants to load in. That's a lot of information. We'll throw that in there, and it might be our friend, might not be. We'll take a look and see what that looks like. Oh, it seems to be doing it, but you can see that it wants to give you a little bit of grief when it looks at the legs of the chair. But should we want to, maybe we could render that and take a look. If we wanted to go into views and we could render that. We won't go too crazy with that so much. Sun only, that looks great. Sure, we'll hit render and see what happens with it. We'll have a little bit of daylight at least with it. We haven't put any lights into there. As we discussed in previous videos, you do need lights installed into Revit for these things to work properly. If you don't, then you'll just have the daylight maybe. But okay, there you go. You can see start seeing the chair is there, and that's actually from a whole nother program that I've made that chair in Shark CAD actually. So that shows to show you that it does translate quite nicely back and forth. It's just that chair is there's a lot of stuff going on to make those legs twisted like they are, to make the wood look twisted. It's quite the event in Shark CAD to make that happen. But it's for all these things, these CAD, importing the CAD stuff for like AutoCAD and whatnot. When you're doing it, you got to remember that all the CAD stuff, like AutoCAD stuff that you're bringing in, there's an awful lot of information for each thing that you're putting in there. It's remembering every little last detail that you've thrown in there, every point of curvature of whatever it is, your lines, everything that's in there. It's remembering everything, and then it's going to try and explain that to Revit, which likes to simplify things and make them look good, but it's it's definitely not concerning itself with every little point. That doesn't want to concern itself with every little point that you've made, to like, doesn't care that you've twisted the legs in a special way. It just wants to put the image of that chair in. So that's why it, for my system, it didn't really want to show up like it shows up as these red lines, squiggly lines underneath it when you're not doing it. But you can see that the legs are there. They're twisted. They fairly complicated drafting bits to go in there to make that happen. But in this particular case, until it's rendered, that doesn't really look all that great. It's just it's like you got some worms that hang out of the bottom of the chair. I don't know, but the legs definitely are. As I said, it's a fairly complex thing, so there's a lot of information in there that Revit's trying to look at, but also probably doesn't care about that much. So, because this is just, probably thinks it's a little bit of nonsense that we bothered putting that silly bit of graphic in there. And it really would bog down the computer if you were just putting like a 1,000 of these chairs into the system. Now it's got to think about all of that for each one. And I don't blame it for not wanting to think about all of that. It's quite a bit of stuff. But if you rendered it, it's only got to think about it that one time while it renders it, and it would be just fine, I'm sure. As it did render that just perfectly. Just sorting out the nonsense as you're, it's concentrated on building a building. You're trying to tell it how your day was in the wood shop, and not that it doesn't care, but it's not important, and it just isn't. But anyway, so that's how we put in two different ways putting in furniture. You can certainly put in a lot of different things. As I said, Revit City, or we'll have stuff that you can download. You can certainly build your own furniture. We'll maybe go into that in another video. This is a very good program. Obviously, if the people are building things like cars and dogs and whatnot in Revit, to be put into Revit and be put onto Revit City, there must be a way of doing it in Revit, right? So we can go into that a little bit later, maybe, and explore that. But yeah, you definitely, if you're fluid, like I'm fairly fluid in AutoCAD, I certainly can make up a whole bunch of different things. You can certainly add in your own things in AutoCAD or in a CAD program of sorts and bring them in here. It does like that, and it does allow you to do that. It's a very good program that way. You can sort of merge a bunch of your different worlds together. If your client had created something and we would like to see how our desk, our chair, whatever it is in there, you certainly could add it in and show them what the look of the building would be with that feature. I've actually had it where I was working on a project for somebody that wanted a float home done, and I knew that they had a bunch of these little chihuahuas. So when I was doing it, I'd actually I found a dog in Revit City that looked similar to his dog, and I threw that up on his on the patio for him. Told him, look, it's even got your dog is there. So you can do that. It's just, the 3D modeling sort of stuff when you're looking at it. It is to sort of just give somebody a little bit better idea of what they are looking at when they're about to build a project. Give them a little bit more to think about when, obviously the builders aren't going to look at all of this stuff as much. It does help them sort of with spatialization and whatnot, but and see how things will fit together or how it should fit together. But they're really going to be looking at your floor plans more so, just working off of that. And that brings us to the end of this video. We'll move on to the next thing.